Hello friends, how are you? Merry Christmas. Wanted to show you my Christmas sweater vest. It used to be my mother's and now it is mine. And I wore it today for a dinner we had and it made me think of my mother. Well, today is December the 15th. We got 10 more days till Christmas. Can you imagine? And of course, Story time with Aunt Becky means you get another story. Today I'm reading you Raggedy Ann and Andy Help Santa Claus. I don't know how many of you played with the Raggedy Ann and Andy when you were little. This is an orange-haired one on the back, and that is what they look like. My parents made my siblings and I a Raggedy Ann and Andy, a very large one, which I still have. So this is by Polly Curren. Raggedy Ann and Andy Help Santa Claus. Raggedy Ann and Andy sat by the fireplace as quiet as mice. The house was silent and dark. Everyone else was asleep, but all the dolls were wide awake and excited. Tomorrow was Christmas Eve, and the dolls were waiting for Santa Claus. So you can tell this is a little golden book. Here you go, the tree, and there they are. Here's Raggedy Ann and Andy. They've got the peppermint striped stockings. It was getting late, and Baby Doll was impatient. "Where is Santa?" she asked. "I hope he remembers to come," French Doll worried. Raggedy Ann held up her hand. "Shh," she whispered. "Listen." They all heard the music of tiny sleigh bells, then a soft thud as something landed on the roof. The next moment, whiz! Santa Claus was standing in the living room. "Ho, ho, ho!" he boomed happily when he saw all the dolls. "Merry Christmas, little friends!" And you know, Santa Claus is fat and jolly. Raggedy Ann's and Andy's wide smiles grew wider. French Doll curtsied. China Doll bowed low. All the dolls clapped their hands and cried, "Merry Christmas, Santa Claus!" Raggedy Ann seated Santa in a big easy chair. Andy placed Santa's sack beside him. French Doll served him milk and cookies. "Just what I needed," Santa declared. They're all helping him out to be comfortable. He's got a lot of work to do. He wants a chance to sit down and rest. Santa opened his sack and began taking out gifts and putting them under the tree. Just as he finished filling the stockings, bong, went the clock in the hall. "Bless my whiskers," Santa exclaimed. "I must hurry. I have to go to the old house this year before I start home to the North Pole." There he is, digging his stuff out. The Raggedies and the other dolls were surprised. They thought the old house had been empty for a long, long time. "Do children live there, Santa?" Raggedy Ann asked eagerly. "Ho, ho, ho," Santa chuckled. "There are 3 very good children, Nancy and Donnie and Paul. I have trains and dolls for them right here in my sack." Sure enough, he's got a train in there. Then, quickly, Santa slung his sack up on his back. After placing his finger beside his nose, whiz! Santa was gone. Baby Doll yawned and rubbed her eyes. "I'm sleepy," she sighed. There he goes. "As soon as the room is tidy, we'll go to sleep," Raggedy Ann said. She started to brush the crumbs from the floor. That was when she saw the doll, half hidden under the chair. When Raggedy Ann picked up the brand new doll, she found a tag that said, "To Nancy." Uh-oh. There's a doll missing. "Oh!" Raggedy Ann cried. "This little doll must have fallen out of Santa's sack. She belongs to Nancy down at the old house." "We must take her there at once," Andy said. Then he frowned. "But the old house is far away. How can we get there?" It says, to Nancy. Yep, there's one of the outfits. Up spoke the fireman doll. We can use my fire engine, he said. Andy shook his head. Too dangerous, he said. The roads are covered with ice. We must find some way, Raggedy Ann said as she and Andy put their heads together. My oldest brother had a Raggedy Andy that was in those clothes. The red and white checkered shirt and the blue pants. At last Raggedy Ann looked up happily. I know, she cried. We'll use Marcella's sled. We'll ask Fido and Peterkins to pull it, and Cowboy Doll can use his rope to lasso the chimney. They're coming up with all kinds of ideas. And you and I will climb up the rope to the roof, Andy added, too excited to be quiet any longer. We like to climb. I'll be the driver, said Fireman Doll. I'll lend my blanket, Baby Doll offered. I'll bring my rope, Cowboy Doll said. They're all coming together to get the little doll to little Nancy. Raggedy Ann smiled at the brand new doll. And I'll hold you very carefully until we get to the old house, she promised softly. Santa will leave you there for Nancy. Off went the dolls to wake Fido and Peterkins, and a few minutes later, everything was ready. It's cold outside, so they're bundling up. Hey, she's got the doll wrapped up in Baby Doll's blanket. Baby Doll donated her blanket, and Raggedy Ann wrapped the doll up in it to keep it safe and protected. Go! Fireman Doll called out. Fido and Peterkins pulled and pulled, but the sled would not move an inch. Raggedy Andy hopped off and pushed with all his might. Slowly the sled began to move. Just as it started to gather speed, Andy jumped back on. There he is. He's got his scarf flying out. They got the dogs pulling the sled. They're dolls. They don't weigh as much as people. Faster than a rocket, the sled flew down the long, dark road toward the old house. The dolls could see Santa on its roof, almost up to the chimney. Wait, Santa Claus! Andy shouted. Wait, wait, called the other dolls. Santa looked down and saw the dolls. Bless my whiskers, he cried. What are you doing here? I think they just came from Marcella's house up there. And here they come on the sled, and there's Santa on the roof. Both Raggedy's hopped off the sled. Quickly, Cowboy Doll twirled his rope. Then, with one mighty toss, he lassoed the chimney on his very first try. Andy and Ann climbed up the rope, then stepped onto the roof. There's Cowboy Doll down there, and he's lassoing the chimney. Santa's waiting for them. We brought you something, Raggedy Ann smiled, handing Santa the brand new doll. Nancy's doll, Santa exclaimed. Where did you find her? Raggedy Ann and Andy told Santa what had happened. We hoped we'd get here in time to catch you, Ann said. And we did, Andy grinned. There, he's putting the doll in the sack. Raggedy Ann's got to keep the blanket for Baby Doll. Putting his arms around Raggedy Ann and Andy, Santa hugged them tightly. And then Santa Claus kissed them both. How can I ever thank you for your help? He asked. Well, it's Santa Claus. You just did, Raggedy Ann said shyly. Very gently, she touched the spot on her head where Santa's kiss had landed. You sure did, Andy added. He, too, rubbed his kissing spot. Think Santa's rubbing the cloth off his mouth? Have you ever kissed a rag doll? Back down the rope and to their places on the sled went the Raggedys. All the dolls waved goodbye as Fido and Peterkins headed home. Santa Claus waved and watched them go. "Merry Christmas, little friends," he called softly, and turning quickly, he disappeared down the chimney. They helped Santa Claus out. There they are, waving goodbye from the sled. The two dogs are taking them home. And that's the end. Raggedy Ann and Andy helped Santa Claus. They sure did. This book was 89 cents when it was brand new. Back in when it was published in 1977. Maybe in the 80s. Well, I hope you've enjoyed that Christmas story. I hope you're having a good season. And I hope you continue to have a good season the rest of this month, the rest of this year, and into next year. And I hope to see you back again next time where we can share another story. Hopefully it won't be too far away so we can share some more Christmas stories. Well, I'll see you next time. Thanks very much. Bye.